This is going to be a training video on how to put together an offer based on the information that you had gathered through your research on Naren. So this is a new platform for you. This is Loop. I will provide you with the username and password so you can get access to this. So for this particular software, this is going to be the opening screen when you get into it. The first thing that you're going to want to do is go over into the top right corner and click Michael Lefevre. That will bring you into my Loop portal. So what we want to do when we submit an offer is we're going to go and create a new loop. So we will click here, add a loop. And the name of the property, we will use one of the ones from the example here. So it will be 215 Ridge Road. And then sometimes it will automatically pop up through its research. So this one will be 215 Ridge Road, Northwood, New Hampshire. And we will click this. And we will see that the listing agent is Steve Cortrand, which adds up to the one that we have on file for the sale price of 145. So we'll go ahead and click that one. Hit continue. On this one, we're not going to select anything. We're just going to continue on. No need to upload a photo. Continue on. And here you go. So now we're going to want to click View Loop. We're going to skip this. So now we've got a blank loop with no documentation or anything in here. So what we need to now do is upload the purchase and sales agreement that you will be responsible for filling out. So we're going to add document. You're going to come over here to templates, and I've created a tab here for you. It says VA Offer Docs. So we will click VA Offer Docs, and we will see the purchase and sales agreement. We don't need to worry about the, actually, you know what? We might as well always add an addendum to this file because there may be changes that happen. So let's always click these two boxes, copy that into the loop, and here we go. Now we've got our standard purchase and sales agreement, and let's go ahead and open this up. So this is what the standard purchase and sales agreement is going to look like, and we will need to be filling out the information on these pages. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too difficult once you get the hang of it. And so let's just jump right in, and I will show you how to perform this. But first, let's go ahead and get the CRS data and also the listing data that you will need to accurately fill out this information. So we will go here to Paragon first. We'll do our search for the Northwood property. Here we are, 215 Ridge Road. Okay, so we've got our property information sheet here that we will be getting a lot of our information from. But then also this link right here, that brings you right to the CRS data, which you're familiar with, possibly clicking on this to get to. You can do that right through the listing sheet. So we will click on CRS data, and we will be gathering a lot of our information on this as well. So we start off on our offer sheet. It's going to ask us what is the date that this was made on. So this is going to be the 12th day of February, year 2020. And now it's going to be between, which is going to be the seller first. So we are going to go back to our CRS data. This will not show you who the seller is. This will show you who the actual current owner is. So it's going to be USA HUD. We'll copy that. Put the seller's name here as USA HUD. And then now we need to figure out the city, state. So it looks like this is their address right here. Nashville, Tennessee is the state, or the city and state of. Address goes here. Town, Nashville. State, Tennessee, and the zip code was 37203. 37203. Okay, so now the seller information is populated. Now the buyer information is always going to remain the same because I will be the buyer on this, so my company will be purchasing this. So this is going to be Property Possible Inc. And we will do of 20 Square Suite 626. This will be Nashua NH 03063. So this information, the address, the town, the state, this is all going to say for the buyer portion of this. So now we are going to come into the sales portion of this. So if you read here that says the seller agrees to sell and convey, and the buyer agrees to buy certain real estate situated in the city and town. So we know this is going to be Northwood. Northwood. That goes here. Northwood, located at, now we're going to need to put the property address in there, so we know it's going to be the 215 Ridge Road. And then you're going to also do your county. So the county right here is Rockingham. See, the CRS will have most of the data. Rockingham County. Now, book, page, and date. That is what you're going to be able to get here on the CRS. So you'll see here book, page, and or document number. You're going to want the most recent one. So you can see here the book is going to be 6073. And we will put that in the book. The page is going to be 2557. So we will put that there, 2557. And the date when this book and page was issued was 12/11/2019. So we will put 12/11/19 is acceptable. So that gets us to start the purchase process here. We've got the seller information, we've got the property, the buyer information, we have the property information, book and page. Now we're going to get into the selling price. So what you will be receiving from me will be either a Word document or a note file similar to this, and it's going to say what the property address is. So you're going to want to go ahead when I give you the property address, you're going to want to research this property, add the current seller to that information that we discussed, and then it's also going to break down the purchase price and all of the other details of the transaction here. So let's go back into dotloop, or we'll start with selling price. So selling price on this is going to be 150,000. So we will go and put in, this needs to be written out completely. So 150,000. And I usually do this so there's no way to put any other information here besides the purchase price. And then now we have the dollar figure of this. So I do 150, 123.00. So that will fill in our purchase price amount. So then our next item of information is going to be the earnest money deposit. So it's the down payment that we are putting on the property to secure it. And this is going to always be in the deposit form of a business check. That's always going to be the same. So you're going to see here business check, then we'll put the amount. The amount may vary. So we will have business check is to be held by. So this is an important thing here. So this is going to be the seller that is holding our check, or the seller's agent that's going to be holding this business check that we give them. So you're going to get this information here on the listing sheet, not the CRS. and you scroll down here and you will find listing office name. So this is the company that is going to be holding the deposit check. So we're just going to want to go ahead and copy that, come over to dotloop here, and we will just import this information. So Remax Area Real Estate Network Ltd is going to be the responsible party to hold this. In all cases, we will be delivering this check, and it asks you the amount of days. I usually will put that on there as well, but on average we will have 5 days to deliver the check upon us signing this agreement, so that will be pretty standard. In the amount of, I'll just say in this case, $5,000. Now there's an option here that will give the buyer to deposit more money at a certain period of time. 99.99% of times we will not be depositing more money on an offer, and I will be auto-populating these boxes with NA. So now what you're going to see here is a, let's go ahead and save this, maybe to get rid of that. Now it's going to say, once we close on this property, the remainder of the purchase price shall be paid by wire, certified cashier's check, trust account check in the amount of. So what we need to do here is take the deposit that we gave, minus that by the purchase price. So we will have $145,000 that we will need to come to closing with. Now deed will be on this as well. So we're going to label this as a warranty deed. 99.99% of times it's going to be warranty. So you can always basically fill that in. Then I will put in here the transfer of title. So this is when we're actually buying the property. And I've got the transfer date here as March 1st, 2020, and the location is going to be to be determined, or TBD. I have that backwards. So we will do 3/1/2020, and we will do to be determined. Possession, you don't need to do anything special here. This is a section that you're going to need to fill in. So this is all populated with Cameron Prestige. We're going to need to change that. So we're always going to be incorporating, adding the buyer and the seller's agent on this. So I, in all cases, will be the buyer's agent, and we will be changing this in all cases to Cameron Real Estate Group. Now the seller's agent is information that you can buy here. As you see with the escrow, they are the same people that will be holding the escrow as the seller's agent. So we know that they work for that company. So we can put that here. We can go back to our listing sheet and we can see that Steve Cortrand is the listing agent. So we will put him on there as the contact, and we will check the box here that makes Steve the listing agent on here. Notice of designated agencies, not necessary. Now insurance, almost always as a rule of thumb, we're going to put $5,000 down there. That means that the seller of the property will have insurance on the property until we buy it. Okay, so now here, prorations, we're going to leave that blank, fixtures blank, lead paint disclosure. This is important to know. There's a very important rule that if the home was built before 1978, which it states right here, then a lead paint disclosure is required. So if we look over here at the year built, this property was built in 1995. So we do not need to have a lead paint disclosure on this. So we will click no. Now we will go down to general building inspection. So the inspection period, this is going to change. I would give you that information on your sheet, but for this case, we're just going to say no across the board. So if for some reason I say a general building inspection, I would say, okay, yes, and we would have 10 days to conduct that inspection. But for this case, we'll just say that we're going to do no on all of them. And if there's some special inspection that I will put on here that you do not find on these tabs, let's say test pits, you will put that in here, click yes, and then add the amount of days that we would have to do the test bits. Now, this tab is a due diligence tab, and in 99.9% of cases, we're going to be doing restrictive covenants of record, easements on the deed, park rules and regulations, almost always no, condo documents, almost always no, co-op PUD association documents, almost always no, and then yes for the last two. And as a rule of thumb, we usually do about 10 days for this. Now this is the financing section here, so you'll see the financing. I've got hard money. So what you will need to do here is say that this is contingent on financing, and the mortgage type we are just going to put in hard money. And that is all we need to do on that unless otherwise instructed. These may change. I may provide you with the information here, but it would be labeled in that information sheet that I give you. Now, this is the commitment section of me getting financing. So the buyer agrees to act diligently and in good faith in obtaining financing and shall, within, on average, 3 calendar days from the effective date, submit a complete and full application. So this means once we agree on this contract, I have 3 days to submit an application to my financier or to my bank. Then this here is what the commitment date is. So this is going to be a little bit different than the close date, and it's usually before. Well, not usually, it's always before. And this will be to say that the bank will give you the money and they will lend on this property. And we will set this commitment date for 2/22/2020. And I will give you that information as well. Okay, so additional provisions. This will also be provided in the information sheet. For this situation, let's just say buying the property in as-is condition. And that would be it. So that is filling out the entire application. Now the next step is going to be getting these sections here auto-populated for me. So what you're going to do here is you're going to delete this, which is usually on a Mac, it's Shift Command. On a desktop, it will give you the prompts right over here on how to delete a field. But I will be the buyer in this instance. So what we're going to do is just delete this column, and we're going to assign the field to Michael Lefevre. So that will give me the option to sign. You do not sign this. It will just allow me to go ahead and click and sign. And we're going to do that throughout the document here. So we're going to click anything. The buyer acknowledges prior receipt of the seller's property disclosure. Sign field, Michael Lefevre. Delete this. Assign field, Michael Lefevre. This is me electing to waive my rights on an inspection. I would give you the notification if I did decide to waive my right to all inspections. You would assign my name here, but since we've got a restrictive covenants, then we, or in this case, we've got, let's say, a general building inspection and test pits. Let's just keep it that I am not waiving all my rights to this inspection. Sign field. Now this one is a little tricky because there's two sections. There's one small section which is right above, which needs to be assigned, the wire fraud disclosure, and then the one below that needs to be assigned. So we just want to make sure both of those are initialed. And then the buyer information again, so we're going to want to assign me so I can sign here. And we're going to want to add the mailing address, which will always be the same, is going to be the 20 Trafalgar Square. Okay, and you can also now add the seller's information here, but that's not necessary. You do not have to do that. But we will delete the redundancies here. So once you do this, you want to click Save. Then it will go back to my purchase and sales document, and I will be able to access this platform, open up the purchase document, and see all of the information and review the offer that you had submitted. So now once you're back to this main tab, what we want to do is very, very important that you select this. We want to click purchase, select loop status. This is going to be a pre-offer. That way I will be able to see this. If we do not do purchase and you do not do pre-offer, back here on my main tab, I've got filters that will eliminate any loops that are not in a certain status. So pre-offer, this is very important for us to do this. We will offer, just make sure that we update that, or else I will not be able to see it unless I remove the filters. So that is how we create an offer. I will be sending over a couple of just test offers for you to run through. If you have any questions, let me know. I will provide the link and password to dotloop for you. And as always, keep up the good work, and I look forward to talking to you soon.